Tom and Steve, thanks for your time today. We've got this church business meeting on Zoom, and we thought it would be really great to update the congregation on what's happened. We're sitting in this beautiful building. You two were the main drivers between yourselves. Tom, you highlighted the work right through. Steve, you oversaw quite a bit of the technical changes that were necessary. So I thought it would be really great if we could just talk to you about what's gone on. So let's start with the frontage. I mean, it was the last thing to be done, but Tom.
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing it took us so long, but I'm very pleased with the outcome, and most people seem to be pleased. And to be honest, a long time coming. Boy, have we needed it. You know, the number of times trying to get people with their wheelchairs up those rackety little steps, and even trying through the back over those steps. So we've a real progress, and we dropped the curbs, and it's a very, very significant improvement. And it's a long time, but we've got it. That's the main thing. Is there?
And the pavement using that resin rather than using tarmac.
Yeah, it's a very modern way of doing things like that. Very practical. It is more expensive, but I think people agree it looks good. And compared to something like just plain black tarmac, when I spoke to the builder about it, the contractor, he said the main thing is, and particularly the colours we've chosen, it makes the building stand out. So that, in a way, you don't want people's eyes to the bottom. You want them, as they walk up the street, to look at the building and look at the frontage and see it. And it works. And we've got some nice parking lots, so no parking please. And one safety thing was actually mentioned by M&M themselves, they got worried. Children tend to run down that corner and could go in the street, hence why we built a little wall and a railing there, and with the drop curbs. I'm very pleased indeed.
And the design of that stairs very much we owe thanks to Doug, because our original design, I remember, was quite a basic one, wasn't it?
I wish I could take the credit for that, but I can't. And the hours Doug spent on the design of that, and then chasing the contractors, and it looks good. It really looks good. Even to go into the stainless steel rails, which matches the front door, it was well done, Doug, spot on.
We had to replace the front door as well, didn't we?
They were really on their last legs, those. The hinges had all rusted away and gone. And we ummed and ahed about the frame, but when we did take it out eventually, which was all DIY work, it wasn't in a good state. And the emergency doors for security, we put brand new kick bars on for safety. So there's a lot of safety issues there, and it did need doing, no question about it.
So those front doors take us into the foyer, and that's where I think our new foyer is. It is stunning.
It's worked out really, really. We all talked about, as a team, didn't we, Steve? All talked about the barrier, this wooden barrier. Anybody looking in, some people didn't even know we're a church. But if you look at that barrier has now gone. We've gone floor to ceiling with glass, and I think it was a really, really good design. It's worked out really, really, really well, and people can see it, and hopefully on a Sunday morning when we're all back, they'll be able to hear us as well.
Yes. And the other thing about that foyer, and Steve, I think this is what you're doing, because we've got new lights in there, and those circular lights just seem to lift the whole place. And there's other stuff as well that we did in the foyer.
Yes, so when the old screen was going to be taken out, we realised that not only did it provide a barrier, but it was also the way that the cabling was run from the switchboard through to the hall and to the extension. So we're going to have to do a lot of changes to the electrical system. So we realised this was really going to be the best opportunity to actually do a full, complete replacement for the switchgear at the front of the church. And although it's something really in the background, it now means that we've got modern switchgear that we all understand, rather than what was quite a mess of old 6 individual fuse boxes, all in that one cupboard. So that gave us the opportunity to upgrade the electrics. And the lighting, we really wanted to have something that looked modern and contemporary in the foyer as well. And through contacts, we were able to get some very nice modern office-style lighting with a nice feel to it. And behind it, we've got a modern operating system. So now, in the main sanctuary, we have LED lights on the beams, which can be controlled so that we can dim them, so that we can turn on lighting in some parts and others. It gives us a lot of flexibility, and we really saw the advantage to that when it came to carols by candlelight. And we were able to dim some of the lights, turn off others, and really enhance the mood within the building.
You say that, Steve, as though it was a very straightforward job. It wasn't really. I remember going to the Christian Resource Exhibition in Birmingham with you last March, just before lockdown, and the amount of companies that we had to go through and you had to talk to, the specifications and all those things, that took an awful lot of work, didn't it?
There was a certain amount of research needed on different operating systems, talking to different contractors, and getting a feel for what would be best in our building for the kind of things that we wanted to do with it. So yes, that was a bit of fun and a bit of a challenge, the sort of thing that I like doing. And hopefully we've now got a modern system that will be able to keep working and adapt if necessary. But yes, there's a lot of flexibility built into the system. From dusk through to about 11 o'clock at night now, there's a little bit of lighting comes on within the building, just enough to enable people to look through the glass doors and see what an inviting and open place this building now is.
Just tell us a little bit about the decoration itself.
Well, it was long overdue. It's more than 40 years since anything. And to be honest, we couldn't leave it any longer because perhaps people didn't notice, but there was a real safety issue above the balcony in the ceiling. The plaster was starting to come down, so we had to do something anyway. Now, in one way, the COVID was a little bit helpful with this one, because normally, you bring people in and they do 4 or 6 weeks, but we had a number of months, and the contractor, of course, they were in, all the building sites were closed and they couldn't do work, so they were really glad of this job. And to be quite honest, we had a very tight spec, but they actually did quite a bit more than we anticipated. In fact, they rubbed all the woodwork down and did it. And they even did the stairwells and everything for us as well. But the main thing for me, they repaired that ceiling.
Yes.
And why it was so big, we had to have scaffolding all the way to. I've still got visions of Bob Norman and Martin walking along those beams.
Along those beams up there, yes.
With a bucket and mops and actually washing down those beams at the top. And of course we had to take the organ pipes down and put them back up again. So all that was DIY again. So linked with those contractors who were extremely flexible and were really, really pleased. And they weren't the most expensive contractors either.
Yeah.
They were excellent.
Yeah, and I think
we did build a relationship, and I think this is something that Steve has managed to do as well. When you have contractors in like that, he's actually building that relationship. And we built a tremendous relationship with the decorators, as Steve did with the lighting people. And it was an interesting thing, we got the two to talk together, so Steve's team were able to use the scaffolding when it was up. Boy, did that save them some work. So, and it is I'm particularly pleased with all the team. We made a conscious effort to build those relationships, and it really did pay as well, didn't it, Steve?
It definitely did.
Really well.
Yeah, and we could stop there and we could say, there you are, it's all done. But that's not the full story, because we did a lot of work out the back, didn't we?
I think some work we had to do. We knew we were going to do that when the contractors in. That was the corridor the flooring on. So we did a lot of reconcreting in the corridor. But we took the opportunity, because we were closed down again, we actually cut out all the stone steps. through to the back, so it's nice and smooth. And we managed to tackle one of the bugbears that I've had for a long, long time, is the toilets at the back. And in particularly, to be quite honest, the ladies' toilets and disabled, which were not good. So we're really pleased, and Martin James did a tremendous job on all the flooring and new carpet. Oh, by the way, put new carpets nearly everywhere as well. So I'm really pleased about that. That's worked out really well.
Yeah. I guess we have to talk about costs.
Absolutely.
We do have to talk about costs. Now, we were responsible and accountable to the trustees for making sure that the money was spent and we knew where it was and how it was being done. And thanks to Jill Betts, who gave us a lot of help on the pounds, the shillings and the pence. When we started this, we initially thought we would do it for about £100,000. Now, that was very much an estimate, and it was very much based on what we thought we would do. What we've seen is that in every facet of this development, something better and something which has been a little bit more expensive has come along, which we've done because we've been generational, as you said, Tom. So, in terms of pure finances, within the church's funds, we had £102,000 available for us at the beginning of 2020. And that was made up from the building funds and from donations we'd received in previous years. So there was £102,000 set aside there. Now, the Lord moves through the people. And during the course of last year, we actually had specific donations, which was over £44,000 just as part of that building work. And it wasn't just from people within the church. There was people who used to come to this church who have given money because they saw what was going on and they wanted to help, and thank you to them. So that meant that we had 146,000 specifically for this work. Now I remember, Tom, you came to the church meeting, the last one we had, and said, I think we'll need to use some money from the general fund, about £35,000 you said.
Yeah.
Now, praise God, because the total cost of everything we see was 163,000, but we only needed to use £17,000 from the general fund, not the 35 you expected, which, I mean, yeah, I mean, I know we three never cease to say the Lord has really been in this.
All the way through, every element of it, and all the team would agree that.
And talking about the team,
Yeah.
it would be wrong if we didn't say some thank yous.
Well, it was particularly, it's this like passion that like Steve and Doug had with those things. Now don't get me wrong, the pair of them drove me mad last year. They really did, you know. However, the end result was justified. But there's the two other people in there, with lots of people. Norman Jones helped, and lots of people on the technical, and bless her, Katie and Jill. But the other two key members of the team were Martin James and Bob Norman, and they turned their hands to everything. And the lovely thing for me, I mean, we were like this. Yeah. Were there disagreements? Absolutely. No, we should do that. No, we should do that. But you know, with the Lord's help, we always got to the right conclusion, and they worked flat out. And that's one of the reasons the costs are where they are, because we did so much more than we ever anticipated, because the building was closed. It was perfect. And was it a challenge? Oh, it was a challenge. And are we glad it's over? Absolutely, we're glad it's over. But if you look at the end result and what this allows us to do, it's fantastic, and all credit to those guys, to the team. It's not about me, it's not about us three, it's the team.
Absolutely.
It's super.
And we haven't just stopped at improving the fabric of the building. We've brought new chairs in, which are they're brilliant. You can stack them, you can unstack them, we can reform them. We've increased the technology. We brought new cameras in, we brought a new sound desk in, all of which is enabling us to present the gospel better and better and better.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I was sceptical about the need to replace the chairs, but now seeing the way that the sanctuary can be used for all sorts of purposes, because we can clear the chairs out of the way very easily, stack them, move them, so much easier than the exercises that we've done in the past. That was obviously a good investment in improving the facilities and the way that we can use the building.
And the other thing we've always said is, what's next? So we've got this fantastic tool. What do we do next?
Well, I've said this before at church meetings. We didn't think so, as a team we didn't think so, but I can talk collectively for the team. That was the easy bit. The real challenge comes now. But we've got one big saving grace for the team that we all thought, the new challenge is not us. It's for every single member of the church family. Whatever, every single member. And that's, now we've got it. Why do we do it? Well, it's an enabler to get that gospel out to the town. And we've said that's why we're doing it. And all the reasons, it's not so we can sit more comfortable and oh, isn't it beautiful? It's about doing that, and that's the challenge for everybody. And compared to what we've done in the last 12 months, that's the real challenge.
That's the real challenge
for everybody.